This video updates information in my June 2, 2022 video titled America is killing German masqueraders. Punjab is also now killing Rajput masquerader murderers concerning Rajput masqueraders in Punjab state. Hello friends, this is Unmasked Truth with Harmanjit Saini, where I provide a unique analysis of world events based on the unmasked truth that after surrender, Germany continued World War II clandestinely and became a killing machine. I also provide true news that you will find nowhere else. In my June 2nd, 2022 video titled America is killing German masqueraders, Punjab is also now killing Rajput masquerader murderers, I mentioned that I was shocked to learn that Sidhu Sikhs are actually Rajputs masquerading around as Punjabi Jat Sikhs and have been murdering Punjabi Sikhs to be financially rewarded in their chosen entertainment industry careers. I described the case of actor Deep Sidhu and Sikh rapper Shubdeep Singh Sidhu, also known as Sidhu Moose Wala. Deep Sidhu was put to death in an orchestrated road accident while 20-year-old Sidhu Moose Wala was shot dead. I also gave the example of a former college colleague whom I did not name who is masquerading around as a Punjabi Hindu while in reality he is a Rajput Hindu. His 22-year-old son, also a budding musician, was put to death by being pushed from the terrace of the house in which he lived. I will reveal the identity of both of them because there is no good reason for me to protect their identity. They should be exposed for what they are, murderers of innocent people. I stated that since Sidhu Moose Wala and the 22-year-old son of my former Hindu colleague were still young, most likely the murder of a Sikh child had been committed by their parents for which they were put to death. I would like to add to that information. The updated information is that Sidhu Moose Wala and the 22-year-old son of my former colleague committed the murders themselves, also, for which they had to be put to death immediately so that they don't continue to murder more people, and also to stop other Rajput or Pashtun masqueraders from even considering taking the step to murder genuine Punjabi Sikhs to get support for their careers and businesses. You read that right. In addition to, you heard that right. In addition to Rajput masqueraders, there are Pashtun known as Pathans among us. There are Pashtun Sikhs masquerading around as Punjabi Sikhs. Thus, we realize we have a much bigger problem on our hands than we knew. We have a bigger challenge to deal with all such deadly enemies. Their numbers are likely in the millions, and they are some of the financially most successful among us because they have been helped in their careers by German allies in India for about 6 decades. Sidhu Moosewala stated in a video that he had shot no one and that he did not promote violence and gun culture. But he was lying on both counts. He had cases against him for promoting gun culture, hurting religious sentiments of Sikhs, and using inflammatory and inciting lyrics in his songs. He was shot dead because he had shot someone dead. As far as possible, we generally use the same method to execute people that they use to murder their victims so that they and their relatives get a taste of their own medicine. Therefore, my former colleague's son was pushed to his death from the balcony of his house because that is most likely the method he used to murder his Sikh victim to meet the German hurdle qualification to get the support to advance his music career. In order to destroy their enemies, Germans pursue a no holds barred approach. They try and promote drugs and alcoholism, violence, hatred, disrespect for police through songs and films so that their enemies destroy themselves as much as possible. They imbibe that culture and then start fighting among themselves. That's what Sidhu Moosewala and others allied with the Germans were doing. Punjabis should be aware of these German and their Indian allies' tactics and counter them in every possible way, including legal actions or even threats delivered electronically. Everything should be done to combat such evil. Now let me expose the identity of a former colleague at Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta, or IMC. He is Ravi Raj Sagar, RRS is what I'll call him, and his 22-year-old son, who was pushed to his death, was Sheel Sagar. I interacted with Ravi Raj Sagar at IMC for 2 years, and we did plenty of marketing projects together in a group. I can vividly recall Sagar's whole demeanor at IMC, which was that he was highly subdued, almost scared much of the time. I am almost certain that the reason was that he had already murdered a Sikh adult or child, for which he was rewarded with admission to IMC, one of the best management institutions in India, to get his MBA. A few years ago, since I thought he was a Punjabi, I organized financial support for him to enable him to pursue his interest in drama and music. He needed the financial support to pursue that passion full time because he was doing a full time job at that time to support his family. His drama company achieved some degree of success so that he was able to give up his full time job. The abject, debased nature of such human beings can be gauged from the fact that even after receiving help from me, knowing fully well that I belong to a Sikh family, one of only two in our entire batch at IIM Calcutta, he had no qualms about advising his son to murder a Sikh adult and or child to advance his music career. That's how Germans deal with people who are not allied with them, and that is how they have taught the Rajputs, Pashtuns, Baniyas, Gujaratis, Bengalis, and South Indians. They will be friendly to anyone they can take advantage of, but will have no hesitation in murdering them or one of theirs if it will mean their advancement in life. They have no natural affection or concept of natural friendship. The only safety from such debased human beings is to not let a single one of them live near you. That's the reason our judgment against German masqueraders in our midst in America is that they should be exterminated, man, woman, and child. The same judgment is the only one appropriate for Rajput and Pashtun masqueraders living among Sikhs and Hindu Punjabis. We will deal with them accordingly. The German and the Indian the Germans and the Indian allies, particularly the Rajputs, are relentless in pushing people to continue to murder more and more Sikhs or people of American or British descent in India. In Ravi Raj Sagar's case, his murder of a Sikh was not enough to help his son Sheel Sagar advance his music career. He was pushed to murder another Sikh adult or child if he wanted his career to really take off. So he fulfilled the requirement, probably on the advice of his father, who thought he had gotten away with his murder committed more than 40 years ago. Sheel paid with his life rather quickly as a warning to prevent further murders. Ravi Raj Sagar's day of reckoning is not far behind. He will have to pay some day with his life for the murder he committed more than 40 years ago. One way to recognize Rajput masqueraders is that they add the name Raj somewhere as part of their name, or like to name themselves after one of their kings, Prithvi Raj Chauhan. So they add either Prithvi or Raj or Chauhan to any of these three names as part of their name. Now Ravi Raj Sagar has another older son, Siam Raj Sagar, who is also in the music business. I corresponded with Sagar about Siam's overweight problem. I hope Siam has not already committed a murder to receive help with his music career, but he might have used electronically delivered threats to force some Sikhs to overeat and become overweight. Perhaps this misdeed was discovered, and that is the reason he has been forced with threats to become overweight. Now, I remember Siam was into Punjabi songs and had some success. That is how Rajput and Pashtun masqueraders benefit from Punjabis. Because Punjabis consider them as their own fellow Punjabi, they support their businesses and their music. Then the masqueraders have full sport of other masqueraders. That is how they loot the wealth of people among whom they live, just as German masqueraders have looted American and British wealth and helped Germany loot it in trillions of dollars over the past more than 70 years, who have then helped China and their Indian allies loot more American and British wealth. Because they have been identified, it will prevent further looting of our wealth. But we still have to deal with the potential threat of more murders being committed by them. Just as German masqueraders are armed to the teeth and prepared for civil war in India, Rajput and Pathan or Afghan masqueraders in Punjab are also getting gun licenses in huge numbers and purchasing guns. Now that they have been identified, they are preparing in earnest for a civil war in Punjab as German masqueraders are preparing in the USA. Their presence poses an existential threat to Punjabis, particularly Punjabi Sikhs, which we will have to deal with when a war erupts. And dealing with them means exterminating them, man, woman, and child, from our midst. The Rajputs and Afghans have spread into many states in India. We will exterminate every Rajput from every other state in India except their own state of Rajasthan and the states allied with the Germans. At present, they are ruling in many of them. We will do the same to Afghans and Pashtuns all over India. Many of them carry the last name Khan. Their presence can no longer be tolerated in India. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please continue to watch my videos and read my articles on important world events, World War III watch, politics, international business, advice on health and medical problems, and much more for in-depth and insightful analysis. Please also subscribe to my YouTube and Facebook channels, Unmasked Truth with Harmanjit Saini, to view and get information on the latest videos. Some people do not have the time to go through the full length of videos. They find it more convenient to read the text of the video. Unfortunately, YouTube does not provide the capability to make the text of my videos available on YouTube, but fortunately Facebook does provide that capability. So I make the text of my videos available on my Facebook channel, which you can easily copy.